And in this video, I'm going to be covering the basic core mechanics of Rocket League for newer players or bronze players who are stuck. To kind of just go over the things that you guys should know and looking out for, maybe things you guys didn't know to help you guys progress and get out of the rank that you're stuck at. This is the intro video to the Road to Grand Champion series I'm going to be posting on the channel. Yeah, what's going on, y'all? It's Zai. I'm going to be taking you guys from whatever rank you're stuck at, starting at bronze, going up to Grand Champion 1 where I'm currently sitting. And pretty much whenever I hit a new rank, when I go from like bronze to silver, silver to gold, so on and so forth, I'll be posting one of these videos that will be going over the mechanics I'll be using to progress out of that rank, or mechanics I feel like you guys should be practicing at that rank that'll help benefit you guys, to help get you guys out of that rank as well. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into free play so I can show you guys what I need to show you for bronze, seeing as this is the first episode of the how-to series for unranked / new players, and let's get right into it. Alright, so now that we're in free play, the first thing I want to go over before anything else is camera settings. So you might notice right away that I can see quite a good distance out around the field. I can see the boost, I can see the ball, I can pretty much see everything around me. It might be very different from how your camera settings look when you first start the game. You might feel kind of close to your car, the camera's kind of on your car's cheeks and all that stuff. So we're kind of going to go over camera settings. I'm not going to go too in-depth in camera settings right now, but I'm going to give you guys some starter camera settings that you guys can use so that you guys can pretty much see around the field like I do here. So let's go right to camera settings here. So the first thing you want to do is turn off camera shake. There is no valuable use for camera shake at all. The only thing that it does is it kind of shakes your camera when you make contact with the ball, when you bump into somebody, when someone bumps into you. There's no use for it. It can be very distracting, so I recommend turning camera shake off. If you have it on, you can pretty much copy the rest of these settings right here. Invert solo, I'm not going to go too in depth in that, but you can have it on or have it off, and I'll make a more in-depth camera settings video on that later on. The only other thing I recommend that you change in my camera settings is your distance. A lot of people in the Rocket League community will complain about my distance of 300, so I recommend having it in between 290 or 270. This is the standard that most Rocket League players have it and make a big deal out of nothing. And hey, if anyone talks trash to you about having 300 distance, if you want to use it, don't worry, I'll run that once for you, so I did. But anyway, that's just about going to do it for the camera settings. And just copy these the way they are, and just keep your distance between 270 and 290, and that should just about do it for camera settings. Alright, so with camera settings out of the way, the next thing I want to go over is pretty much the core fundamental mechanics of Rocket League. You'll be using these mechanics throughout your entire time playing the game, and these mechanics are driving, both forwards and backwards, steering, both left and right. You have jump, boost, flip, ball cam, and arrow. So all these mechanics you will be using throughout your entire journey in Rocket League, and I'm going to go over each individual one. Just about every player should know how to drive and steer, hopefully. But if for some reason you do not know how to drive and steer, I'm going to go over that right here, right now. So if you're on controller, either Xbox or PlayStation, your drive button will be the right trigger. You hold the right trigger, it will send your car forwards. And for direction, if you're on keyboard and mouse, your drive button will be W. And you can go ahead and press W and it'll achieve the same result by just holding W. It will send your car forwards. Now, as for driving backwards or reverse, you pretty much just hold your left trigger and it will send your car driving backwards just like this. And if you're on keyboard and mouse, your reverse button is S. So that is pretty much it for driving forwards and backwards. Let's go over steering left and right. So if you're on controller, all it is for steering left and right is just pointing your analog stick to the left or right. If you're on keyboard, you'll be holding A or D. But you want to do this while holding throttle either forwards or backwards. So holding drive forward or backwards, you turn your analog stick to the left or to the right, and you can turn left and right. And if you're on keyboard and mouse, you want to hold W and then tap A or D, or hold A and D and you'll turn left and right. So that just about covers driving our car on the ground, and that's pretty much it for that. The next thing I want to go over is jumping. So with jumping on controller, the default jump button is A or X if you're on PlayStation. If you're on keyboard and mouse, I'm pretty sure the default jump button is right click. If you're on keyboard, yeah, it's right click. You have two jumps in Rocket League. You can double jump, so you can jump once and you can jump twice. and it's done with the same button. You can use these two jumps as quick as you want. You cannot use these jumps for as long as you want. Your second jump does have a 1.5 second counter, so if you are in the air, you cannot use your second jump after a while. So you can see I can use my first jump, and if I float in the air for a while, I cannot use my second jump again. So there is a timer on your second jump, but we're not going to get too deep into that right now, because for right now we're going to just be focusing on the fact that we can double jump and on the fact that we can just single jump. So with that out of the way, we're going to cover flipping next, because flipping and jumping kind of go hand in hand. So to flip, all you want to do is hold your analog stick, or if you're on keyboard, I'm pretty sure you just hold W, A, S, or D in any direction, and you will flip. So if you want to flip forward, you hold up on your analog stick or W, and you double tap the jump button, and you'll flip forwards. If you want to flip backwards, you hold the analog stick down or S, and you double tap the jump button to flip backwards. You can also flip left and right by holding the analog stick to the left or to the right, and then double tapping the jump button as well. And that pretty much covers flipping in all directions. You can also diagonal flip by pushing up and to the right or up and to the left in any direction, and you will do a diagonal flip. But for now, we're mainly focusing on flipping left, flipping right, flipping forwards, and flipping backwards. So that pretty much covers flipping and jumping. So let's go ahead and go over boost. On controller, I'm pretty sure the default boost button will be B or circle if you're on PlayStation. For me, I did change my keybinds, so mine is right bumper. But for you, it might be B or circle when you're just starting out. And another thing I want to go over is pretty much these boost pads here. These small boost pads will give you 12 boosts when you go over them, and they respawn a lot quicker than the bigger boost. And the bigger boost over here will fill up your boost all the way to 100. So there are 6 big boost pads on the field. You have 2 on your side of the field, 2 in the middle, and then 2 on the opponent's half of the field over here, where you have these 2 big boosts over here. It doesn't matter what standard map you're playing on, all the boost pads will be in the same spot. The only thing that changes per map is just the visuals around you, but everything else regarding the net, the ball, the boost, all of those remain fundamentally the same on each map. And yeah, that pretty much covers boosts. You can boost into the air as well, and this is called an aerial. So if you jump and tilt your stick backwards if you're on controller, or you jump and press S on keyboard and you hold your boost, it will send you into the air. So we're not gonna be focused on that too much. Just wanted to share that with you to let you know that you can fly in Rocket League to get up into the air, for those of you who do not know. But in this series for bronze, we're pretty much going to be primarily staying on the ground and just hitting the ball all together on the ground. We're not going to be focusing on aerials too much, but if that's something you want to practice, this is how you do it. So that pretty much covers boosting and everything you need to know about boosting. And the next thing I want to go over is the ball cam. So the ball cam pretty much just allows you to focus on the ball from wherever you are on the field. On controller, the default ball cam button is either triangle or Y if you're on an Xbox controller or PlayStation. On PC or on keyboard and mouse, the default ball cam button I believe is spacebar. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do not play on keyboard and mouse, so if anyone that's watching this plays on keyboard and mouse, please in the comment section correct me on if I'm wrong on the keyboard inputs. But yeah, ball cam should be Y or triangle on controller, and I think it should be spacebar on keyboard and mouse. So like I said, this pretty much just allows you to focus on the ball. So let's say you're driving back to net and you want to see the ball, you just press your ball cam button and it'll turn on the ball cam and it'll show you where the ball is on the field from where you currently are. So that pretty much covers the ball cam, and not really much to cover regarding that right now, but this is just how you toggle on and off the ball cam. And another mechanic I did forget to mention is power slide or drift. If you want to go ahead and power slide or drift, you want to go ahead and hold the X button or square if you're on PlayStation. I am not sure what the power slide button is on keyboard and mouse, but you guys can go into your settings here, go to view/chain bindings here, and check to see what power slide is. It says left shift, so left shift is power slide on keyboard by default. I have not changed the power slide bind at all on play keyboard, but power slide is left shift on keyboard. The next thing I want to cover is arrow or free roll. So in Rocket League, you can arrow two different ways. There's free roll and directional arrow, but for right now, we're going to mainly just touch on free roll. I'm not sure what it is by default on controller, seeing as I have changed my keybinds, but I believe on controller it is the left trigger by default, your reverse button, and pretty much all you have to do to arrow is you hold your arrow button. For me it's X, for you it might be a different button like left trigger. You're going to hold your arrow button, and while you're in the air, if you press your analog stick left or right, you will spin left or right. Now you can only arrow to the left or to the right. You cannot arrow forwards or backwards, because when you're in the air, once you press forwards and backwards, your car automatically flips in those directions. You do not need to arrow forwards or backwards because that's automatically handled by you. Through Rocket League, you do not need an arrow forwards or backwards button. Alright, so one thing I did forget to mention is I talked about free arrow, but I did not mention the use case for it. Great job, Zai. I'm about to change my name to Zai Can't Make Tutorials. But anyway, the use case for free arrow, it mainly helps you to land on your wheels. It can also be used to help you shoot, but we're not going to focus on that right now. We're mainly just focusing on using free arrow to help us recover and land on our wheels so we don't end up landing upside down or sideways. So pretty much a great example of this is if you're like falling off of the ceiling or something. If you just hold your free arrow button and turn your analog stick, you can land on your wheels like this. So it avoids you from landing upside down or awkwardly on your side. So if you find yourself doing that, this is one way to avoid doing that, is by using your free arrow to help you land on your wheels so you don't end up landing awkwardly like that. I did say I wasn't going to touch too much on directional arrow, but I will explain to you how to set it up if you want to use it. By default, if you're on controller, your directional arrow buttons are unbinded. I'm not sure what it is on keyboard and mouse, if they have default binds or not. We can check real quick. So we have arrow left and arrow right. So for me it's Q and E, but I'm pretty sure I set those binds myself. I'm pretty sure both of these are unbinded for both keyboard and mouse. But for me, my arrow left is left bumper and my arrow right is B. You can set these up however you want to set them up, because as I said, by default they are unbinded. And pretty much directional arrow left and right does the same thing that free roll does, except arrow left pretty much does what it says, the arrow's left, and arrow right, arrow's right. You just have to hold the button. You don't have to use your analog stick for that at all. You just hold arrow left to spin left, and you hold arrow right to spin right. And that pretty much covers arrow left and right, directional arrow. And it's pretty much up to you whether you want to use free roll or directional arrow. I'm more of a directional arrow guy myself, but not everyone uses directional arrow. A lot of higher ranks use both. I personally just use directional, but both can help you, and I recommend learning both. But for right now, you can just focus on free arrow. But if you prefer directional arrow, like if you have a special controller, like a controller with paddles, you might want to make your left arrow the left bumper and your right arrow the right bumper. But that's completely up to you. And I'm not going to go too deep into directional arrow because it's a little bit more advanced than the free arrow. So that's going to cover everything as far as directional arrow, and that's pretty much that. So that just about covers the fundamental mechanics that you guys need to know as far as just controlling your car, the mechanics, turning on your ball cam, your boost, and all that good stuff. So the only other thing that I want to talk about is pretty much what we're going to be focusing on in the series as a bronze. So as a bronze, pretty much we're going to be focusing on just making contact with the ball. We're going to always make sure we're lining ourselves up to be able to hit the ball forward towards the opponent's net, making sure we're taking our time with the ball so we can actually line up hits. You don't want to just be full boosting to the ball and then making a mistake like this, trying to go too fast. You're going to take your time, allow the ball to go to you, line up the hit, always try to position your car in a way where you can hit the ball towards the net. So if you could increase your chances of scoring, just about everyone in bronze is going to be full boosting and trying to shoot the ball on the net and missing. So we're going to be primarily focusing on doing the opposite by just taking our time with the ball and trying to shoot the ball on net in the best way possible so that we can maximize our scoring opportunities as a bronze and push into silver. So with that being said, that pretty much covers everything I want to go over as far as bronze. I will be making a more in-depth video on camera settings for those of you who might be interested in that. But for now, this is just how-to mechanics for bronze or newer players who are just getting into the game. And as I said, I will be posting a video like this for each rank when I hit each new rank. Like when I hit silver, I'll be posting a how-to mechanics for silver and for gold, flat, etc. Things I'm going to be going over and using at that rank. But for bronze, we're going to be primarily staying on the ground and focusing on just making contact with the ball and hitting the ball towards in the direction that we want to hit the ball in. So that just about covers that. And stay tuned for that, and I'll be soon posting the episodes for the Road to GC series on the channel, so also stay tuned for that as well. So if you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit the like and subscribe, because if you don't, Big Bro and Teleport Native will be outside your window tonight. He's 7 foot tall and above. But anyway, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.